Alright guys, this is the shorter version of a longer 17-minute video I made. Basically, what I was trying to get at is that the presence of God felt like outer space had wrapped around me and was protecting me, and I had no worries. Everything was going to be alright. Everything is okay. Everything is alright. That's the way I felt, and it felt great. Yesterday, it's at midnight now, so yesterday or last night, I felt the presence of God when I was on the toilet saying some prayers to God. All of a sudden, I felt this like an invasion of the atmosphere, but not in a bad way. It was a good one. Like, I don't know if you guys can hear that car alarm outside all of a sudden, but yeah, it was so beautiful because it was like God. I knew that it was God. The way it felt, the way the presence felt, it was like it was almost like how on a cartoon I watched in the past. I think it was called Prince of Egypt or one of those. I think those are two different ones. When the guy was singing, "You know better than I." Yeah. But anyways, he was like, God was no joke on there. He was like, "Who made man's mouth? Did not I? Now go." Then Moses was crying like, and then God was like, "Oh, Moses." He was comforting Moses. He was so kind and so sweet. He saw that he yelled at him and made him cry. So he comforted him, and I did something similar to my son yesterday when I was disciplining him for like bringing something. I told him not to bring something in the room, and it made a mess, and I even scolded him, and then he started crying, but he comforted his own self too, because he just went back to normal like nothing ever happened. But it was the same thing. It was like a father's love for his kid. But yeah, it was just beautiful. I wish, like, I don't know if I'll post that video because I was saying a lot more, but maybe I still will. Someone may come across it one day in the next few years, and it could be a helpful message to them. If YouTube will allow it to stay up, because they've been on my behind about certain things. So, I mean, yeah, I'll try my best. But I think that's all I wanted to really say, is that the presence of God was so beautiful, and I hadn't felt the presence of God like that in some time. Like, I felt the anointing. I felt like spiritual strength at times when I was praying, and I even felt that a couple times, well, mostly the anointing, but this was different. Like, this is a feeling I don't feel all the time, and I feel like that's my fault, but God showed me. It's like I was reaching out for him, asking like about, I was complaining basically, but in a way, like God was my therapist. I was praying and talking to God, and then later it's like out of the blue, he showed me he's still here. He didn't leave me. His presence said everything. All I did was feel it, but so much was said in a feeling, and it basically gave me more, not even hope, it gave me more strength to keep pressing forward until justice is due, justice is rendered to the unjust and for the unjust actions that the unjust took against people who weren't coming. We may not necessarily be, perfect, or saints, but for me, for example, I'm somebody who don't mess with somebody unless they're mess with me. And in the older me, like even a year or a year and a half ago, I would just leave people alone. Like, if they bothered me, I'd get away from you. I started doing that again. So to avoid like adding fuel to the fire, basically. And I'm like one of those people, like, I want you to have fun. I love when people are happy and enjoying themselves. I'm somebody who was thinking of making a Christian club for people to go to back when I was a teenager, because I wanted people to have fun. But then I thought maybe people told me that may not be a good idea, because, things happen at clubs. People go shoot people at clubs. But that's just, I feel like it can be successful. But I was even designing it and everything in my head. But that's okay. I'm not saying that I'm a perfect person or I'm like a saint or something like that. Like somebody that's so holy and so righteous, because I make mistakes and I make poor decisions at times. Like, they might be small, but I'm basically trying to say I'm not God. So I mess up. So I don't know. God just let me know everything is all right. He's perfect. He knows everything. He knows how things are going to end. Just because we don't know doesn't mean it's not worked out. It just takes some time for it to manifest here on our realm where we see it come into fruition. But God already knows. He's patiently sitting there. And that's what the presence of God felt like. It felt like patience. Like I was in the moment. It brought me back. To be honest, when I say it felt like outer space wrapped around me and comforted me, and I had protection and I was worry free, like there are no worries. It felt like that with a combination of, oh darn, it's starting to leave me a little bit in my mind. But it was feeling like in the know, in the know and in the now. I kind of lost what I was about to say at that moment, but okay, so I had to pause for a sec. Basically, it felt like the past, the present, and the future all at the same time. How that feeling, people be feeling that feeling sometimes when they describe something like that when they be on certain drugs, but I'm not on any drugs, so to feel that, it's like there was peace and power in all parallel universes at the same time, even though there's chaos in it, but it's like in the midst of that chaos, there was peace and protection, even though we go through it. But it's like at the same time, it was like a stillness that stood firm because it knows what it knows. And it was like a confidence, like it cannot be shaken. No one can deter it. It is what it is. It stands bold. It stands firm. It was like the all, the everything is the best way I can put it. And when I feel that presence, it's like almost instantly. It's like when I take a breath, it's almost like breathing in fresh, unpolluted air, and it's like I can see outer space, as in maybe like outer space being like the mind or heart of God, like when you see the sky, like the stars and stuff. I don't know. That's what I feel. It's like it takes me out of just being in the planet of the earth, and then seeing or feeling that there's more than just here in this little planet that we exist on. That's what it felt like. Like everything, like God knows he's where he can see everything. He can see what's going on in the different galaxies, in the different planets, the universes. He's there. He's seeing it all at once. While we still here on this planet, we got to go on a rocket to get out of this atmosphere to go up into space. But he's already there. And he sees everything. And he's existing in all. Like, I can't really explain it. I can't. But it was just so beautiful. It was overwhelming. It was peaceful and it was beautiful. It was so pure and beautiful that all I could do was cry, because I knew that it was the presence of God. And it's like he was comforting me, like, my child, I'm still here. And he allowed me to feel his presence, and it was a gift. That's what I want to share.